Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is Zillafan85, back today with a new video, and I'm doing another figure review. This is actually my 1965 King Ghidorah Gashapon figure. Oh boy, once I saw this on eBay, that's where I got it from. I was really excited about this because I do have a couple other King Ghidorah figures in my collection, a couple other standard size figures. Including the Bandai King Ghidorah that I have and will probably review at some point. But that version and really any other version of King Ghidorah that I have is the Heisei version of King Ghidorah. Now, design-wise, I do like the Heisei King Ghidorah the best as far as his design goes, and even to the Heisei King Ghidorah's roar, I happen to like a lot too. I know a lot of people will disagree, but I happen to really like it. I know it's essentially a modified Rodan roar, but I just always thought it sounded really cool. I liked it better than that sort of chirpy roar that he has, traditionally. So I liked what they did with the Heisei King Ghidorah roar, and I thought, even, from that appearance from the 91 King Ghidorah, and then, of course, when you saw the Grand King Ghidorah in Rebirth of Mothra 3, which had an even more menacing sound to that Heisei roar, that was really awesome, too. So, like I said, design-wise and roar, I like the Heisei King Ghidorah the best, but as far as origin-wise goes, and just King Ghidorah's persona, the Showa era King Ghidorah is easily my favorite version there. Which essentially the Showa era version has King Ghidorah, his origin story, as this huge and incredibly powerful space monster that's a sort of destroyer of worlds. He goes to different planets and lays waste to them, and that built him up basically to be Godzilla's arch nemesis, if you will. So I love that backstory, and I love how powerful he is, and he really did take a lot for Godzilla and company, I would say, to be able to defeat him. So all his appearances were always worthwhile in the Showa films, especially. So this particular version, this is the 1965 King Ghidorah. Now, design-wise, essentially, the Showa era King Ghidorah was basically the same in any film appearance you would see him in. At least to me, I really didn't notice any difference. You will notice in his later incarnations, particularly in Godzilla vs. Gigan, they sort of modified his roar a little bit to add more of like this sort of screeching sound, and I didn't really care for that. I liked, even though the chirpy roar isn't my favorite to begin with, but I liked at least the just that more natural sound that they had to it, in his earlier appearances prior to Godzilla vs. Gigan. I don't know why they added that screechy sound to it. But being the 1965 one in particular, this is the depiction of him as he appears in the movie Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, aka Invasion of Astro Monster. And that is one of my all-time favorite Godzilla movies, actually in my top 3. I far and away love this, love that movie so much. It was really the first time where you really see the alien plot, where they're hell-bent to conquer the Earth. That's really the first time, essentially, that you see that in the Godzilla movies, and it did become a recurring plot point that they used, but the Exians or Exilians from Planet X, they were certainly among my favorites. I love their ships. I love their designs. Definitely love their visors that they wore. I've tried to find them on eBay, whether it was the Invasion of Astro Monster version or the Final Wars incarnation. I just love those visors that they had. But nonetheless, though, this being his second appearance, this followed up from Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, where now he had ventured to Planet X and was taken control over by the Exians. and used in their plot to try and conquer the Earth. You know, in the long run, you know, well, you know, no spoiler, well, spoilers, I guess you could say. You know, in the end, though, Godzilla and Rodan take him on and manage to sort of drive him away. And then you just don't really see what happened to them, but we know that they were okay and came back for their next film appearances. But you know, certainly though. I love that film, and I really love King Ghidorah. You know, especially the this menacing presence that he had, and especially so in the Showa era here. So let's go ahead though. Let's jump into the figure review itself. So we'll start as I usually do with the paint job, and as you can see on him all around, he's got that classic sort of gold colored paint that he's got all over him. You know, again, this is a Gashapon minifigure. It's a few in, you know, it is King Ghidorah, so it's going to be a little bit bigger than a normal Gashapon, probably in that sort of 4-inch range, I would say. But again, a minifigure nonetheless. But they did a really nice job with that gold paint all around. And that's one thing I like with these Gashapon figures. They really don't, for the most part, they really don't lapse. So that's why I love having these in my collection. So again, you can kind of see with that gold paint. And then otherwise, there's not really too much variation in the paint. But you can see his eyes. For all of his heads, they have that sort of, let me see, hopefully it focuses. Come on, camera. Cooperate with me. It's got sort of this orangish, reddish paint for the eyes there. So again, if you guys can kind of see that, just want to make sure that the camera stays in focus. Doing the best I can, folks. And then inside, well, he's got the two outer heads, the mouths are closed, but the center head, the mouth is open, if you can see it all in there. I know it's not the best, but it does have sort of they did do sort of a dark red paint for the tongue. So if you guys can kind of see that and have a better look at the eyes. There, so, and I think that looks really nice. I mean, King Ghidorah's paint is pretty, you know, his color scheme is pretty basic anyways, just mainly the gold all around. So that pretty much covers the paint. Then otherwise you've got the detailing, and again, I really think that they did a very nice job detailing this figure. You can see the segmentation in the wings, both side, front and back. They did it, of course, the labeling for the figure too, and showcasing that it is the 1965 version, Bandai China, of course. And then they did his classic scaling, the King Ghidorah scaling on his body, so you can see that. And it really has this. It's not just a paint, you know. It's actually really. They really did take the time to, because you can feel the texturing on it. So they actually did sculpt this. And it's really nice, has a really nice feel to it, very scaly feeling. This is just awesome. I was so excited to get this figure. And of course you see the claws, they got painted. They didn't obviously paint it any different, which would have been nice, but you know, still sculpted on nonetheless. You got some teeth, not sculpted in a different color, or not painted in a different color, but they are again sculpted for the open mouth there. So there do have some detail with that. Again, they put the tongue in there. They got his classic horns that he's got on his head, so you can see those. Make sure that you guys can see that. And it's got his classic look like that, and of course he's got the spikes on his three heads as well, going down his neck, his necks, I should say. So you can take a look at those, and then again, we got the scaling down the tail, and then the frills on the ends of his tails, his two tails, I should say. So those are sculpted out as well, so you guys can see those there. Very awesome, very awesome. Oh, and then of course underneath the head, the line segmentations underneath the heads. Gotta remember heads and tails. So you guys can take a little look at that. So really awesome. Again, like I said, they really did not skip too much on any sort of detail with this, and something that I really, really appreciate. And again, these Gashapon figures, they really do a nice job with these. So other than that, really only other thing is articulation, but again, this being a Gashapon figure, you're not really going to get much for the most part. You can sort of... You can, yeah, not really move his tail a little bit. The only thing you can really do are his heads, as you can see, do kind of swivel around, but, you know, you're not going to get any sort of full rotation with them. And because they are really just, you know, again, being a Gashapon figure that they had to connect into place, I don't really know that they were meant for being, you know, rotated or swiveled at all, but you can kind of mess with them a little bit, so if you want to put them in different sort of poses. So I usually kind of like to keep them like that. That's my favorite sort of pose. So that's about it. You know, I don't really mess with scaling too much, you know, especially with the Gashapon ones. Like I said, this one a little bit larger than some of the other Gashapons. This will probably be several inches tall. As you can see, the heads are kind of lean forward. That seems like that's something that they really tend to do quite a bit. With the King Ghidorah figures, I noticed. I would like if they would have them more straightened up, so you can kind of really get a feel for his size instead of being leaned over. It was the Bandai one that I have. It's similar to this as well. I don't know why they do that, but I guess, you know, that's just what they do. So, nonetheless, though, I think that pretty much does cover it. Like I said, this is the 1965 King Ghidorah, this Gashapon figure, you know, again from Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, aka Invasion of Astro Monster, which is one of my personal favorite Godzilla movies of all time, and always will be, of course. These are fairly common on eBay. I have seen them, and they're not too pricey, so they certainly won't break the bank. If you want to look into trying to get them, I think you should be able to get them for less than $20. So, so really, really affordable and a nice set piece. So if you're in the market and you're definitely interested, I certainly recommend these. And again, I love my Gashapon figures. I have tons more to review on those. I have a ton of standard figures that I'm still going to be getting too. So lots of upcoming figure reviews that I will be planning to do here, and especially as we enter into the new year. But that does about wrap it up, though, folks. I do want to thank you so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.